In the next question, so in the 11th, this is the first question, that is Thevenin's equivalent circuit, and second question is find the current passing through 3 ohm using superposition theorem. This is the circuit given and you have to find out the current passing through the 3 ohm resistor. So as it is not clear, I draw this network here, this one. So this is 20 volt source, 5 ohm, 3 ohm, 10, and this is current source. So current source is nothing but it consists of a circle with an arrow. So that indicates it is a current source. Voltage source means it's a battery symbol, plus and minus, or else so inside the circle plus and minus sign will be there. So that you have to consider it as voltage source. So first of all, in the superposition theorem, first identify the number of sources. So number of sources are two sources here. One is 20 volt source and one is 5 ampere source. Two sources are there, 20 and 5 ampere. So voltage source, 20 volts voltage source is there. First consider one source at a time and find the current passing through the 3 ohm resistor and the remaining all other sources. If 3 other sources are there, remove it. Just consider one source at a time. So here two sources are there. So I am considering 20 volt source. Remaining source you have to remove it. So remaining source is what? Current source. So how can you remove a current source? By making open circuit. Suppose if you want to remove voltage source, then how can you remove a voltage source? By making short circuit. So if it is a voltage source, make it as short circuit, and if it is a current source, make it as open circuit. So while considering the 20 volt source, I have to remove the 5 ampere source. Suppose in addition to this 5 ampere, one more voltage source is there. Then what will you do? You have to remove that voltage source also by making short circuit. So in this case, other than this 20, only 5 ampere source is there. I am making it as open circuit. So just redraw the circuit then by making open circuiting the current source. Now in this 10 ohms resistor, there will not be any current flowing through it. Then no need to consider this 10 ohm resistor. So it is a redundant branch. So no need to consider this 10 ohm resistor as there is no current flowing through that resistor. So remove the 10 and redraw the circuit. So what is our aim? We are finding the current passing through 3 ohm due to this 20 volt source only. So now this is a simple series circuit. The current is flowing from higher potential of the battery to the lower potential of the battery. This is plus and this is minus. So current will flow like this. So I'm marking this 3 ohm resistor as a terminals A and B. So then I can identify the current flow from A to B or B to A. So that's why I'm marking the terminals for the 3 ohm resistor. Why? Because I want to find out the current flowing in the 3 ohm. So the direction of current is A to B. So to find out the current in 3 ohm resistor, what is the formula? I is equal to V by R. That is the general Ohm's law formula. I is equal to V by R. What is the voltage in the circuit? 20 volts. And what is the resistance? These 5 and 3 are in series. So you have to take the equivalent resistance. Then R equivalent will be just series means you have to add the two resistors. 5 plus 3, 8 ohms. So then current passing through 3 ohm is equal to voltage by resistance, that is 20 by 8. So you will get the current. So the direction of current is A to B. So due to 20 volts, the current in 3 ohm resistor is 2.5 amperes we got. So next case is what? You have to consider only 5 amperes source and remove all other remaining sources and find the current passing through 3 ohm. So in superposition theorem, what you have to do? Each and every case you have to consider one source and you have to find out the current passing through that particular resistor. If 4 sources are there, individually consider those 4 sources. So in these two sources, we are considering 20 volt source once and we are considering 5 ampere source now. So if you are considering 5 ampere source, you have to remove all other sources. What is the remaining source? Voltage source. How can you remove the voltage source? By making short circuit. So just I am short circuiting that voltage source. Or else you can write here. So this is short circuit. See in this case also you have to find out the current passing through 3 ohm. So mark the terminals A and B. So here the current is flowing. So the direction of current, it is given in the source, that is this arrow mark. So it means the current will flow like this through 10 ohm, and at this junction point the current will divide into 2. So what is meant by junction point? Whenever the 3 elements or 3 branches are connected at a point, that is called the junction point. So minimum number of elements are 3 or 3 branches has to meet at a point. That point is called junction point. So now this 5 and 3 are in parallel, and we know the total current for this circuit. What is the total current for this circuit? 5 amperes is the total current. And if you know the total current, and if any two resistors are in parallel, so I draw here, I had drawn here, this is R1 and R2, these two resistors are in parallel. And for this parallel combination, I am writing the total current IT. So if you know the total current, then you can find out the current passing through any one of the two parallel resistors using the current division rule. So here also 5 and 3 are in parallel, and I know the total current for this parallel combination, that is 5 amperes. So that's why I can use the current division rule to find out the current passing in 3 ohm resistor. So what is the current division rule? So that is current passing through any element is equal to total current into opposite resistance by sum of the resistances. Opposite resistance means this is I1 current. I1 current is flowing in R1. So if you are finding this I1 current flowing through R1, for this R1 opposite resistance is R2. So in the same way, suppose if you want to find out the current passing through 3 ohm resistor, for this 3 ohm, what will be the opposite resistance? 5. So total current is 5 amperes. 5 into opposite resistance is 5 again, 5 by sum of the two resistors, 5 plus 3, total 8. So remember one point, sum of the resistances is nothing but just sum of the two resistors only, not the equivalent resistances. So these two are in parallel, then sum of the resistance means 5 parallel 3. Don't do it. Just sum of the two resistors, add those two, 5 plus 3. So that the current given us 3.13 ampere. And again in this 3 ohm also, current is flowing from A to B. So the direction I had mentioned here, A to B. So due to 5 ampere source, what is the current flowing through 3 ohm? 3.13 amperes. But what is our aim? We have to find out the current passing in 3 ohm resistor when all the sources are in there in circuit. But what we did, we consider only one source at a time, and we found the current passing through 3 ohm. So that is not required. We have to find out the current in 3 ohm with all the sources in circuit. So now here superposition theorem comes into picture. So according to superposition theorem, so this is the procedure of superposition theorem. You have to consider each source alone, and you have to find out the current, and finally you have to add all the currents. So according to superposition theorem, the current passing through 3 ohm is equal to current passing through 3 ohm due to 20 volt source plus current passing through 3 ohm due to 5 ampere source. So in each case direction is A to B only. Suppose in one case the direction is B to A, then what you have to take? You have to take the opposite sign. Suppose here we got plus 3.13. Suppose the direction is B to A, then what you have to take? Take it as minus 3.13. So this is the final answer, 5.63 amperes. So actually while writing, I thought it is recorded, but it's not recorded. That's why. So I cannot do it again. Hope you understand this problem. So just practice once. This is a simple problem. One voltage source and one current source. If three sources are there in the circuit also, you can do. So you have to consider the three sources individually. So three cases you will get. Suppose V1, V2, V3, three cases are there. So first consider V1, remove V2 and V3. Next consider V2, and remove V1 and V3. How can you remove the voltage sources? By making short circuit. So by making the short circuit, redraw the circuit. Then find out the current passing through a particular element in which you have to find out the current by using any network reduction method. Not only this current division rule or not only using mesh analysis, you can use any network reduction method to find out the current passing through any particular element. So next consider V3 source and make V1 and V2 is equal to 0 by making short circuit. So after that, what you have to do? You have to add all the three responses. And one more thing what you have to remember, the direction of current in each case you have to remember. All the directions must be same. If the direction is not same, change the sign of the current. Suppose A to B current I got it as 2 ohm, and in another case IB to A I got it as 3 ohm. Then what I have to do? IA to B plus in the second case B to A. I have to change this direction to A to B. If you are changing means that will become minus 3 to minus 3. So like this you have to do. So practice this superposition theorem and some other problems on superposition theorem. So in the next video I will continue the remaining questions.